Now, to Sebastian's chagrin, it's not just him who is noticing Charlotte. Because he's just wondering, I have known this girl for 10 years. She's been my sister's best friend. Why am I just noticing her right now? But it upsets him that it's not just him noticing Charlotte. The entire London is noticing her. On his carriage ride back with Miss Burke, Lavinia, she just keeps speaking ill of Charlotte. Has perfect composure gone because she's now feeling threatened by Charlotte. Now, Sebastian just wants her to stop. But that kind of fight with Miss Burke can ruin everything. He needs this woman's money to save his family. So he's just being circumspect in, it's okay, calm down now. She's not, don't ignore her, that kind of thing. That's the way he's just trying to placate Miss Burke. Meanwhile, the two supernatural beings in the midst of this whole ring and wish issue, they're facing off. Milton is still telling Queens, why is my ring not back to me? Queens is like, it's true. We have come back to regular way things are. Your ring has still refused to come out from Charlotte's finger because traces of the wish are still at work. Just give it 1 week or two, it will come out. Yeah, that was Sebastian falls for Charlotte again. The wish will end. But Milton is like, what are you saying? You cannot expect me to bet my ring on human love, as fickle as it is. In fact, if you cannot end this whole thing, I'm going to end it. Milton now storms off. Queens is like, I beg, this man should not go and spoil something, no, I beg. Now, Charlotte on her own part, she's in the Mallory library trying to find a book. And someone enters the library. She thinks it's Hermione, only for it to be Sebastian. Sebastian is like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm staying over. I mean, I tend to stay over. I'm Hermione's best friend. She now starts asking Sebastian, you wouldn't happen to know where the volume of Coleridge is, would you? Now, Coleridge is a poet that is known for scandalous poems. Like, you don't mention his poems in polite society. It's only hidden. But this is something that Charlotte is boldly asking sensible Sebastian about. In her mind, she's thinking he's going to deny that he knows Coleridge or even knows the poems. But to her surprise, he answers and says, top shelf, third row over. Now, she now says, okay, how about I make a bet that I'm going to guess your favorite verse of his poems? And if I do, you bring down the book for me. Then he now says, oh, so should I add soothsayer to your list of charms? He doesn't actually expect her to know his favorite verse of Coleridge's poems. When he says what he says, like, should I add soothsayer to your list of charms? And she's like, oh, you think I'm charming? With this thing, she starts approaching him. And he breathes, sidesteps her, brings down the book for her. Charlotte, trying to lure Sebastian, get him to fall in love with her again. It is so hard for her. It's tearing her apart right now that she's standing next to this man and she's not in his arms. She's not kissing him. That both their clothes are right and proper. Because now, in the other lifeline, both of them cannot be in a room without rushing at each other. But right now, they're both sensible here. In this timeline, they've never been intimate. They've never known each other. They've never even kissed. But Charlotte knows all about it. She has all those memories. So being this close to him is just pure torture without being, all over him. So she just consoles herself with, okay, I remember all the times that Sebastian was a person who had to make the first move. So, okay, I'm in this position where I must stare him. All right, let me do that. So she sits in an unladylike fashion on a chair, pushes out her chest. Charlotte now talks about, oh, Miss Burke is so proper, and I'm guessing that's what you want. But the way she says it, with her lips tipping in this sly secret smile, it's seducing Sebastian. She now asks him, is that really what you want, Lord Trent? A man who secretly reads Coleridge? You want a woman like Miss Burke? She now sent him the exact same look that Arbuckle had claimed gave her portrait as Helen of Troy the perfect expression, the kind of come-to-me glance that would entice a man to leave everything, to launch 1,000 ships, to breach 100 defenses to claim her heart. That's the kind of look that Charlotte gives Sebastian, the look that no man can resist. The look that says, claim me as your own Sebastian. She must have gotten the look right because Sebastian doesn't know when he says Lottie, and she now starts walking toward him. As she's walking towards him, she's now thinking of how she can rouse the rakish Sebastian, how she can wake him up. And he's sputtering, he's trying to resist her. And he's wondering why she's suddenly moving and acting like a seductress. He now starts blotting out, I'm a gentleman, huh? I've always found you a bit rakish. That's what Charlotte is telling her. Her eyes are twinkling. And she now tells him, kiss me. But even before he can actually obey that command, she starts kissing him. And she ruins him. She awakens him. Reckless, dangerous man. She awakens Sebastian. They're kissing. He's all in her head. He's pushing her against a table, against the wall. It takes Hermione calling for Charlotte outside of the room for him to come back to his senses. And even in this, her clothes are already askew. And instead of her to rush and dress, she dresses slowly. And he's just tempted to shut the door so that they can finish up where they started. But he stops himself. He tries to remember the name of the other woman that he's supposed to go and see, that he's supposed to get engaged to, but he can't even remember her name. He can't remember Lavinia Burke's name again. He's in perfect hiding position behind the door when Hermione walks into the library. And by this time, Charlotte, she's back, she's dressed well again, but she's flushed. I mean, she has that pinky, rosy blush on her cheeks that says, ooh, like something was making me all hot and budded. Hermione's like, is everything okay? Charlie's like, yeah, sure, everything's fine. Both of them leave the library together. Hermione's now warning her, hey, don't recite coleridge at Lady Rutledge's sorority. No, you'll stay a scandal. And you know Sebastian would not like scandals. I mean, he may not even love you anymore if you do that kind of thing. Now, Sebastian, this is news to him that Charlotte loves him. Because from his hiding spot, he now hears his sister Hermione say, I suppose you know best. You're the one in love with him after all. That is news to him. After the girls are gone, that is Hermione and Charlotte are gone, Sebastian, he's trying to dismiss those words he heard. That thing Hermione said to Charlotte, you're the one in love with him after all. So he goes on a hasty walk. He arrives at his club. You know, this club membership situation. The men in his club, they're talking about Charlotte. And then one of the men, Lyman, suggests that as an Uppington Higgin, that she's likely flirtatious. That the women of that family, they have this reputation of being flirtatious. Lyman is now saying that, I'm going to sample her and it's going to be easy. Sebastian, who's never gotten in a fight before, he's so angry with the way Lyman is talking about Charlotte. He shoves Lyman against the wall, wraps his hand around Lyman's throat. In fact, Lyman's legs are dangling in the air. He now starts warning Lyman never to approach Miss Wilmot. Lyman is furious. He wants to dwell Sebastian. Rockhurst now says, if you can find a second, because when you face Trent here, know that I'll be beside him. The Earl now turns to Sebastian and now asks if you don't mind. So this night, Rockhurst and Trent become friends. You know, so you see how Charlotte now engineered the friendship between the most sensible man of the town and the most rakish man of the town. You understand? So right now they become friends. And in other men's eyes, these two men are heroes because they defended the honor of Charlotte, a shining debutante. Overnight, Charlotte outshines Miss Burke as original of the season. And she is 26. Now, by next morning, over 33 bouquets of flowers arrive at Charlotte's home from different men. Her mother, Lady Wilmot, is just heavily displeased. She's friends with Lady Burke, that is Miss Lavinia Burke's mother. And Miss Lavinia Burke's mother has already told Lady Wilmot that men are going to be dwelling over Charlotte. Lady Wilmot is now telling Charlotte that she's not going to go anywhere until gossip cools down. What kind of disgraceful thing is this? You're 26 and causing a scandal. Fenella is hovering in a corner and Fenella speaks up. But Lady Wilmot claims that Charlotte is too old to have a season. That was Fenella suggesting that Charlotte should come and have season at 26. That she has no dowry, she has no charm. Do you understand? Charlotte wants to fight back. Like, why is this woman? That she even, because now she also knows that Lady Wilmot is not even her biological mother. But then, Fenella gives her this pleading glance. And Charlotte also spies something in Fenella's apron. Fenella hid the invitation to the soiree, like to Lady Rutledge's soiree. So Fenella saw the invitation and hid it before Lady Wilmot can seize it. So that means something about Fenella is still much, in sparkle and ready to fight for Charlotte. So Charlotte just calmed down. But the thing pains her because she has limited time to make Sebastian fall in love with her. But for an entire week, she has to be in the house. She can't go anywhere because Lady Wilmot forbade it. Like the woman that is still her mother. Do you understand? That is still parading as her mother in the eyes of the public. Now, a week later, Fenella now helped Charlotte to sneak out. And Charlotte is still in drab clothes, But the reason why Charlotte is sneaking out, she has to locate Herr Trumlin before soiree. Herr Trumlin is that German that used to play music for Lottie in the other timeline. that romantic song that is tugging at the soul, that Charlotte was asking her house help to be feeding the man in exchange that the man will play music for her. Like Queen said, many things about the two timelines are similar. So Charlotte knows where to find this head trembling guy. But she needs Hermione's help. Hermione is helping her. But Graven that is supposed to go with them as chaperone is nowhere to be found. Sebastian now shows up. And when he hears that ladies are going to Titchfield Street, like Titchfield Street is known for housing courtesans, Sebastian is like, I cannot let you ladies go there alone without a chaperone. So, and ladies are determined to go there. So he has no choice. Because if the ladies don't go there to get this head trembling to be at Lady Rutledge's Charlotte is going to recite Coleridge, which is scandalous. So Sebastian is like, oh God, these women, people are twisting my arm. With no chaperone in sight, because women are still determined to go, he now accompanies them. Now, the women, they brought scones and other delicacies for her trembling, because Charlotte remembers his situation, that, he needs food. Sebastian, he's just like, wow, this is the first time I've seen this lady since in a week past, and I'm still thinking about that one case in the library. But then he's thinking, God, but I see how to marry Miss Burke. My family, they're on the brink of debtor's prison. I have to save them. Now, they now arrive at the lodging house next to house number 24, Little Titchfield Street. Remember, in the other timeline, that's Lottie's house number 24. Now, the door is green, where it should be blue like Charlotte's house. And both her and Sebastian notice that detail together. Now, there is longing and regret as Charlotte looks at that house, and he feels the same way, but he doesn't understand why. Now, Charlotte's eyes are pleading when they look to Sebastian, and he doesn't know what the pleading in her eyes are about, but he doesn't want to give in to it, because he's just thinking to himself, I cannot be with this woman. I only have one lonely choice. I have to marry Miss Burke to save my family. That's still the situation he's in. Now, both of them go and meet Head Trumlin and arrange that he's going to be there at Lady Rutledge's soiree. After that visit, Charlotte now informs Lord Trent not to be surprised if the violinist is wearing a familiar jacket at the soiree. And she now also informs him, Lord Trent, other things like his shirt, his cravat, and his waistcoat might look familiar too. Sebastian is just exasperated because he noticed that me and this Head Trumlin are similar in size and build. Charlotte is already planning to borrow Sebastian's clothes so that Head Trumlin can wear it to perform. Unfortunately, someone saw only Sebastian and Charlotte together on the street. And it's scandalous. What are both of them doing at Little Titchfield Street? They did not see Hermione because Hermione was in the carriage. Now, this is the morning of the soiree. Charlotte is in high spirits. She dresses up everything, but then her door is locked. No amount of pleading is going to make Lady Wilmot change her mind. As far you cannot go out and cause an embarrassment. I'm friends with Miss Lavinia Burke's mother. She has told me everything. You cannot go anywhere to that soiree. No. Now, Sebastian, his family, and Miss Burke, they're outside at the soiree. It's actually soiree that is the correct pronunciation, not soiree, as I've been saying, soiree. Now, nobody's going to allow Head Trumlin into Lady Rutledge's soiree without Charlotte, because she's the one that invited him now. She has to be the one to say, this is the person I brought along to provide entertainment. Now, the last guests have arrived, and Charlotte is not yet here. Miss Burke is now saying, good, she's come to her senses and retreated to her rightful place on the shelf. She has no talent, no money, and nothing to recommend her. It's no wonder she decided not to make herself ridiculous by passing off that shabby fellow as a talented musician. Why? Just look at that awful coat. Oh my gosh, that awful coat actually belongs to Sebastian. Oh my gosh. That's what this lady does not know. This Lavinia Burke that is just talking down on everything around her. Now, Sebastian's mother, Lady Walbrook, asks what's happening. Violet now speaks up. Charlotte hasn't arrived yet, and Sebastian won't fetch her. Violet is Sebastian's younger sister. Hermione too now joins in, and Head Trumlin will not be able to play. That is the German musician. They all gang up, and everybody now turns and now looks at Sebastian like, go and get her. Go and bring Charlotte. So Miss Burke now holds onto Sebastian's arm tight. Like, don't go anywhere. Giving him look like, don't go. Even if your family are telling you to go. Her parents too are backing her up. But that's when it dawns on Sebastian that, God, I cannot marry this woman and be bound to this family. I cannot be doing this every time. Why are they holding me down like chain? And meanwhile, it's now occurring to him that I can't ever see this Miss Burke feeding a hungry musician with a basket of goodies she scavenged together the way that Charlotte did, or battering the price of worthless shares in a lost ship, or looking with longing at an empty little house on Little Titchfield Street and wishing she could live at such an address. And then he saw what his life is so utterly lacking: passion. The life-changing, unending, dangerous desire that had the ability to rob a man of his good sense. Yes, good sense, Sebastian is deciding. It doesn't necessarily equate to a good life. And that's when he understood. He needs Lottie. He wanted his Lottie. He wanted a life of poetry and struggle, of passion and endless kisses. Then that's when he goes off to get Lottie. Meanwhile, Lottie, she's crying. She has cried until there's no more tears. She's hoping the whole day that Lady Wilmot is going to change her mind. Lady Wilmot is like, I'm not opening this door. Meanwhile, Lady Burke has fully blown things out of proportion, making it worse. Gave fed Lady Wilmot all manner of lie. Lottie is still dressing the clothes so that she's going to wear to the soiree. She's been waiting. But now, the time is so late. She now loses hope. She's about to just change out of the clothes and say, "Oh, I've tried." But then she now hears the jangle of the doorbell 3 times. Next thing, she now heard Lady Wilmot's angry voice. Fenella next thing comes up to the door and unlocks the door for Charlotte and now tells her, "Do you love Sebastian?" Before Charlotte can even understand what's going on, she just answered, "Of course." Fenella now says, "Okay, come with me." Both of them hurry downstairs. Lady Wilmot is raging. She claims Sebastian's intentions aren't honorable, that he's going to run Charlotte afoul and bring shame, more or less like impregnate her, and there'll be shame on her. So she's just raging and backing that Sebastian cannot live here with Charlotte. His intentions are not pure. He's not the one engaged to Miss Lavinia, So it's now Charlotte that now calmly looks at Fenella and says, "Mother." Everybody is shocked that Charlotte knows that Fenella is her real mother. Sebastian doesn't even care that Charlotte is in quotes a bastard, as per Fenella had her out of wedlock. Fenella now finally speaks up and said, "This house is mine. And Aurora, that is Lady Wilmot, if you don't let Trent and Charlotte be, I'm going to throw you out." Aurora now says, "You will not dare." So Aurora now starts saying that you will not dare. So she now also follows up her defense why she believes that Sebastian does not have good intentions for Charlotte. That, first of all, Sebastian is engaged to Miss Burke, and then a reliable source informed her, like Aurora, that Sebastian is offering Charlotte a house on Titchfield Street, the house known for housing mistresses of men. And everybody now says, this reliable source is Lord Burke, as per Lady Burke's husband visiting his mistress on number 15. All of them now start laughing. Do you understand? So the person that saw Sebastian and Charlotte on that Little Titchfield Street is actually Miss Burke's father, that cheating on his wife, having a mistress there on the Titchfield Street himself. Aurora now claims that, well, she cannot stay in this house where there are people who know things about scandal and about to get themselves in a scandal. She now angrily leaves. Now, Charlotte and Sebastian kiss, and Fenella just has these tears of joy. Now, Charlotte and Sebastian, they arrive at the end of Miss Burke's recital, and it's just whatever, it's dull. Now, Charlotte boldly speaks up and presents her Trumlin. There are murmurs. She now smiles at Trumlin sweetly, asking to play a song about love. He now looks at her and says, "For you, I will." As he plays, the audience is enraptured. Now, as the audience is enraptured, Sebastian just steals Charlotte away to a room for more kisses. Charlotte now tells her, "I'll be ruined by tomorrow if we continue all these kisses." Sebastian now says, "We'll be married tomorrow, so it's not going to matter." Unfortunately, they could not get married the next day because it's too soon. But Sebastian just took 5 days to procure a special license. They had a full house that celebrated the wedding of the season. That morning, the morning of their wedding, the Agatha ship finally landed, making them so rich. The ship took longer time in this lifeline than it took in the other one, but it sure arrived, and all of them were rich. Now, the Mallowys are no longer in debt. Lady Walbrook is now just telling everybody, "I'm just so delighted that Sebastian has finally shown some sensibility about marriage and chosen such a perfect bride." And Lottie, she's in a fashionable dress. She's looking hot, that kind of wife of the season. The men are just cursing Trent for his bloody good look. Like, how did you get this woman? This woman that has this friggin' appeal. Everybody's just, all over her and just cheering, and it's just so good. Now, Queens approaches Charlotte to ask for the ring because in the midst of all of this, because finally now she has gotten the man, everything. So Queens now approaches her supernatural being. Charlotte now looks down at her fingers, but it's gone. She did not even know when the ring dropped out from her finger, because it was there in the morning when she was preparing. Now Milton and the Queens, they start starching hard. But then someone has already found the ring and is now like breathing like, if only that, at the sign of a wish, Queens is being drawn away, because her part in all of this is to make wishes come through. So Queens is now being drawn away to fulfill the wish that whoever this person is making. But before she slips into shadows, Milton can swear that he hears her soft delighted laughter teasing him, just as it had on their wedding night. So Milton and Quincy are married. There's a story there. Now Sebastian and Charlotte off to their honeymoon. Fenella, as Charlotte's mother, is out in the open. Charlotte actually introduced Fenella to Lord Boxley, 20 years her junior, but a romance sparked between them. So Fenella would have a happy ending in this lifeline. Then Aurora sat next to Lord Pilsey. Remember, in the other lifeline, she was Lady Pilsey. So Aurora, too, even with her uptightness and all her bad behavior, she's still going to have her own happy ending. At least a man that can deal with her. Now, meanwhile, Sebastian and Charlotte, they're going on their honeymoon. But now they're passing that museum. That's one with the Grecian statues. Charlotte now asks Sebastian to stop, that she wants to go into that museum so he can sketch her nude. He's like, hold on, first of all, how do you know I can make sketches? That nobody knows about it. But then he thinks she's mad too. Like, why do you want me to sneak you in here to sketch you nude? Okay, you're mad, but I love you anyway. And she's already making a rake out of him. Okay. Now, this is the end of the story, and it's just so glad to see everything come together. After even the near hopelessness, the comedy, everything just came out together. Yes, I know this episode is really long, but if you listen to the end, you're a real MVP. So it's probably the longest episode I've ever done, but it's worth it. And I really just wanted to tidy up this story. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.